This is Justin with Bob's Watches, and today we're going to be talking about 3 Rolex dive watches. First, we're going to have a look at the iconic Rolex Submariner. We're also going to look at the Rolex Sea-Dweller, and finally, we're going to have a look at the big boy, the Rolex Deepsea. We're going to take a look at what makes these watches similar. We're going to talk about some of the differences, and also some of the key points that you're probably going to be interested in if you're in the market for a Rolex dive watch. For all 3 of these watches, we're going to be talking about the stainless steel versions. And all of these come in Rolex's oyster steel for the case material. The Rolex Submariner is the smallest of all of these watches with the 40mm case diameter. It's also the thinnest of all 3 of these watches. Next up, we have the Rolex Sea-Dweller, which is a 43mm case diameter. It's also a little bit thicker than the Submariner. And finally, we have the largest watch, which is the Rolex Deepsea, and that's a 44mm case diameter and also over 17mm thick. The look of all 3 of these bezels is largely similar, but is slightly different between the 3 models. But they all function in the same exact way. They feature a unidirectional rotating bezel with 60 clicks and also Rolex's scratch-resistant Cerachrome bezel insert. All 3 of these watches also feature Rolex's screw-down trip-lock waterproof crown system. Both the Rolex Submariner and the Sea-Dweller feature a scratch-resistant sapphire crystal and a Cyclops lens over the date window. The Rolex Deepsea is a little bit different, however, featuring a 5.5mm thick domed sapphire crystal that doesn't have the Cyclops over the date window. Next, we have probably the biggest difference in specifications between these 3 models: the depth rating. First, we have the Rolex Submariner, and this is the shallowest rated watch of the 3, coming in at 300 meters of water resistance. Next, we have the Sea-Dweller, which is rated at 1,220 meters. And finally, we have the deepest rated watch, which is the Deepsea, coming in at 3,900 meters of depth resistance. Rolex is able to achieve the 3,900 meter depth rating of the Deepsea by utilizing its patented ring lock system. And this is something unique to the Deepsea, which the Submariner and Sea-Dweller do not have. The ring lock system uses a super hard nitrogen alloyed steel center ring that internally supports both the extra sapphire crystal thickness and the grade 5 titanium case back. The Rolex Sea-Dweller and the Deepsea use the same exact movement, the Rolex caliber 3235. And this is an automatic movement with a 70-hour power reserve that's accurate to -2 + 2 seconds a day. While the Rolex Submariner utilizes a different movement, which is the Rolex caliber 3135. And this movement has a 48-hour power reserve, it's also automatic, and features -2 or +2 seconds a day of accuracy. All 3 of these watches feature Rolex's Oyster Steel 3-link bracelet, and also the Glide Lock extension system with Oyster Lock safety clasp. However, the Rolex Submariner does not incorporate the Flip Lock extension link that you will find on both the Sea-Dweller and the Deepsea. There's really a dive watch for everyone in Rolex's collection. The Submariner is a little bit more common, and the Sea-Dweller is a little bit more unique. And finally, if you're into larger watches or you want something with a little bit more of a wrist presence, it's absolutely going to be the Rolex Deepsea. This watch just has a more utilitarian feel and a more tool watch aesthetic. So that wraps it up for these 3 great dive watches from Rolex. Hopefully this guide helped you out if you're in the market for a new diver. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe for more reviews, comparisons, and how-to guides.